Well, the title itself is very important to the story. It being called Ximphonic Versus, the latter half of the title, Oblivium Sic Semper Tantum. I often get asked what that really makes reference to. It's Latin, and it really is touching on the idea of being forever forgotten, and that's such a obscure area of thought to think that you would want to be, or someone would want to be forgotten forever. But it's very important to the story and to these characters that you meet in Frost and Adonis and these other various characters that come into play as the story goes on and have these impacts on their lives, and yet you see the impact they have on theirs from a very unique position. So it's very important, and the aspect of it being verses as well, that in itself is also a play on words about things that come up as the story goes on, because the story it's very vast, it's very large, and so it takes a lot to tell it, and it takes a lot to put it together. One of the other elements that really comes into play a lot for the story is the fact that although it's a comic book and graphic novel and things like that, the story really is wrote more so to be like an opera. It's really what it's based on in its sense of telling. And you look at most operas, they're very beautiful, very tragic. That seems to be a very common theme for what attracts people to them, the way that they're told through this kind of beautiful agony and suffering, and the way it's composed and orchestrated. And the story is very much told the same way from those points of view and those perspectives. And as it goes on and the readers see really the complexity of the relationships between these characters, that's really that really is where a lot of it comes into play. The theme of the story is fairly simple, things that we very much can understand as people. Things about good and bad, but at the same time, what happens when bad is not so black and white? What happens when it is this kind of middle ground that makes you curious? Is bad really bad, or is bad just complicated because of that particular person's situation, and not quite evil, just very complex and very complicated? So there's a great deal of that goes into it as well, and you're going to see that and witness that as the story goes on and as it unfolds, especially between Adonis, and with him being the main character. Although Frost also like the main character, it's almost like they share the role, and their relationship with others and themselves it becomes very unique in the way that it folds out. So we hope readers will enjoy that, and will be able to certainly feel the impact and the emotion of it, because there's some of the things that come up at a certain point where they're very strong and very powerful.